Welcome to the VHS Vault. I am a VHS Jace. That is Jason Roy Gaston. And Jason, why did you make me watch this?
They told me it was funny. They told me it was funny. I would like to publicly do something I never do, and that is apologize to you, to everyone else who might have gone out and saw this movie after I said we were doing it last week. I want to apologize. I was told it was funny. It is not.
I don't know
funny.
what kind of version of funny this is.
I reckon that we're talking about what three drunken frat boys who are destined to be brought up on charges of sexual assault think is funny. That is what this movie is.
And if you haven't, obviously, if you've clicked without seeing the thumbnail, which would be possible, we are talking about a boy and his dog. Look, made in 1975. They do call it a black comedy science fiction film, according to Wikipedia, Jason.
Okay, listen, calling something a black comedy doesn't mean that you don't have to be funny. It's not one of those things like, well, you just don't get it. It's a black comedy. I love black comedy. Black comedy is one of my favorite genres. This was just, it was not funny. This was just cringe from beginning to end. It was cringe, cruelty, stupidity, grossness, misogyny, just nasty.
It's sinister.
And grime smashed into a ball of just pure ass.
Well, we better set it up, at least the premise, all right? It's
I'm done. You can do. I'm done. That's my
He's
opinion.
Gone. It's set in a post-nuclear war United States of 2024. And the interesting thing with Jason, this is a result of World War IV.
Yes.
Where they kind of consider World War III the Cold War in the setup of this, which I thought was slightly interesting, the way they go and explain it. So the Cold War went from the 50s until the 80s, and then that was World War III.
The dog explaining the alternate history of this Earth is honestly where the movie peaks, and that's 2 minutes in. After that, it just it's done.
Do you think they were sitting there when these sinister people started? And look, let's face it, it's based on a novella of the same name by Haron Ellison.
Yes.
But the screenplay was done by the director, L.Q. Jones, who's apparently an actor as well. Didn't know of him. Either way, do you think they were watching the Shaggy Dog when they conceived this? Because in the first 30 seconds, if you walked in after the scroll, you would hear the dog talking to the boy, and you would think, oh, this must be a Disney film. It
kind of has that feeling at the beginning, like, oh, this is Here's Boomer from 80s Disney Channel, or oh, this is going to be such a cute movie, and then the
voiceover too of the dog is very kind of quippy, intelligent, almost. It sounds like the voice of Kit. That's what it sounds like.
It does. It's not him. It's not William Daniels. I think that's his name. It's not him.
Yeah, it's not him. But it sure sounds like it.
It does sound like him, but this is pre-Kit, so this is before William Daniels became somewhat famous.
Absolutely. Obviously, the lead actor in this is a very young Don Johnson.
Yes.
I had not known of what he had done in the 70s, so it was it was a handsome young lad at 18. And I will say, before we go deeper into the cesspool that is this film, all right, he gives it not a bad performance, because he's got a tough role here. He's got to carry the film. He's got to react to a dog that's not really talking. So I don't think he is horrible in the film. His performance, Jason, his performance.
That is the only nice thing you're just trying to say nice things about this movie because you know we're about to say not nice things about it.
That's right. It's the old manager rule. You know the old manager 101? Start with a nice thing, destroy them in the middle, end with a nice thing. Well, I'm not ending with a nice thing on this.
I'm going to start with not nice things In the middle, I'm going to go super nuclear, not nice. And then at the end, I don't know. I just may bail out at the end. Quite honestly, I thought he was terrible. I thought his
Mm,
performance was stilted and screamy, and
mm.
I don't know if he knew the movie he was doing was just complete dog poo or what, but I just feel like he was just I don't know if he thought he was actually doing a comedy and what the things he was doing was funny, but he irritated me from beginning
Well,
to
it's
end. Just a terrible, terrible performance and a terrible character.
well, everything like in the 70s was nihilistic, and this absolutely like just oozes nihilism, doesn't it? This film.
It really does. And I'm gonna say something here. I guess I will say something nice. At its core, the premise and the plot and even the ending is interesting. I honestly think they could have made a better movie around what they had,
Oh
but
yeah.
they went in this misogynistic, sexually aggressive direction that honestly made me hate every character in this movie. It made me
Look,
hate the dog. Do you have any idea how
yeah,
badly you got to muck up a movie for me to hate a dog? Pretty bad. I
pretty
liked
bad.
Kujo.
Yeah. There you go. Look, let's just deal with it. The amount of SA in this film is abhorrent. It is disgusting that
It
they
is. It is.
normalize it in this film like it's just a. And one of the things I'm really angry about this film is just what happens in these post-apocalyptic films. It's just a suggestion that the moment the bombs hit, everybody turns into this animal. And it's like we somehow all our morals and ideals are completely thrown out of the window in that scenario. So everybody's like that in this world. And he has two motives. His whole first half an hour, it's a chase for food and it's a chase for him to get his rocks off. And I'm like, what are we watching here? Like, what are we watching? And it's horrific, Jason. It is disturbing upon a level that, like, I've seen a lot of things in my life, but the almost disregard for the audience and serving this up like this is entertainment, that's some of the things I was getting angry at.
It is the normalization of snuggle struggles in this movie. It is the complete dissection of humanity, which, okay, yeah, we're talking about a kid and this is the only world he's never known. Okay, fine.
Mm,
I get that he would be a little bit feral.
mm,
But ev from the first time he goes down into the hideout where they have the woman who's been victimized, and you
mm,
see her body and it's just mutilated, and his
mm,
only thought is, "Oh, did they have to mess her up that bad? I can't do anything with her." Instantaneously, I hated this character.
oh,
I
yeah.
hated everything about him.
Mm,
The dog, in my opinion, is nothing but a collaborator. I hated the dog.
mm.
Instantaneously, I have no one to root for. I'm just
No.
watching this I'm just watching this brat wander around what I'm assuming is Death Valley, or at least a dry lake bed outside of a parking lot of a Walmart.
Yeah.
Uh, just just wandering around, complaining that he can't get sex and that he's
Mm,
hungry. And then what do? They go watch a stag movie. And it's like
yeah.
everything is revolving around this licentious
It's like
need.
a bar or some sort of community hub in the middle of the desert where everyone hangs out.
Yeah.
And they
And you know,
trade in yeah.
in better hands, there is a funny premise here. If you're gonna go black comedy, there is a premise here. It's basically Porky's after the bombs drop.
Yeah.
That could have been funny. That could have been interesting, even with the
Mm.
dog, which, in my opinion, really made no sense in this movie. A talking dog? Why? Why is there a
Well,
talking
there's
dog?
not even a simple an explanation why he's telepathic. And when they do address it, he goes, I don't know, just one day, he said he chose me. I'm like, come on, you can do a little bit better than that.
honestly, I didn't really care about that. I kind of thought that was okay, refreshing. We're not going to explain the dog.
Yeah.
That's fine. Let's be weird.
Can I say a
But
couple of
they're
things
weird
about
and
the dog?
gross. Yes.
Why is it that nobody in this film tries to eat the dog? At all. To me, that bothered me. I'm like, you have a walking feast right there. Okay, it's post-apocalyptic time. Right? It's an animal. No one else kind of F's with the dog, do they? Nobody. And even at the end, Jason, we'll skip to the end, he gets done over, but he doesn't get eaten. Well, and that's a dog that kind of deserved to be eaten. I'm sorry. I'm not down for that. But it is a post-apocalyptic world.
Everyone in this movie deserved to be cannibalized. Only thing is, I don't think that there was there was no better people out there to do it. I don't know.
No.
If you'd run across Mad Max and Mad Max would have eaten them, I would have been fine.
I don't know if I hated this scene. I didn't think anybody in it was great. But it was an interesting premise to go, well, that's how they're harvesting food, by digging for old cans in the desert. And, it would have helped if we had a line how he knew to dig that hole and where to go. Or was that a hole that already existed? And, massive gaps of lack of information in this film does nothing for you to engage in it. There's nothing to attach yourself to. Horrible characters, horrible plot.
I honestly feel like they did film scenes that explain this stuff, and then they just cut it all out.
Oh.
Because they just wanted to go full on tilt about the sex and violence. We've got to make it sex and violence. We've got to have the next Clockwork Orange. That's what I feel like they were going for. This is Clockwork Orange with none of the subtlety, none of the talent, none of the point. I think this is somebody who went and watched a Clockwork Orange, didn't get it, and then tried to make their own.
You know what's most also really disturbing about this? That Jason Robards agreed to be in this film.
I know. I didn't.
I love Jason Robards as an actor.
I heard his voice and I just thought, that sounds like Jason Robards, but that can't be. That cannot be Jason Robards. And then I'm like, oh my God, that is Jason Robards. What did they have on that man to get him to be in this movie? I'm assuming they had his cat, and they probably fed it to the dog.
Well, and that's it. Thank the man above that we at least have a breaker halfway through this movie. We get introduced to what the real meat of this plot is, where he goes underground to what seems to be a cult, like an established civilization underground, which makes no logical sense, mind you, how you have trees and grass and everything else when there's no sunlight whatsoever. But anyway, we'll walk past that. But he goes into what is a totalitarian kind of cult community there, where everyone's wearing, everyone's regressed back to the 17th century with... Yeah.
It's like if the Nazi party was taken over by an HOA. Have you cut your lawn? We have ways of finding out,
And it's very much like that. It's
that
very
fence
much like...
is the wrong shade of brown. Don't ask how we know. I know it's dark and you think we can't tell, but we can tell.
The problem is you're told to buy into a film like this, and they're trying to go, oh, this is an interesting story, but the logic's just not there. I talked about the environment. Why would you execute your community ad hoc for minor discretions when you're trying to rebuild a population, right? You're supposed to be
the same reason you'd call this movie A Boy and His Dog and then lose the dog 40 minutes into the movie and don't see him again till the end. I mean, if the dog's the only character you like, you're pretty much out of luck. We're sorry, you're gonna be with bad acting Don Johnson and some annoying woman.
And coked out Shaggy Dog.
Oh yeah.
It is like when they get down there, and that's supposed to be the meat, and we find out the victim someone was terrified with him, willingly makes love to him multiple times all of a sudden, just change that. But we find out she's bait.
Yes.
And her idea was to lure her in to take him to the underground.
Yes.
Which I'm like, doesn't work for me again. Doesn't work for me again, because if you had a plan, it's the plan to send you up there, get horribly essayed by multiple people before you even get to your bait. Like, it's just, there's so much sinister thought processes behind every scene of this movie that it just, maybe it was by design to make a film like this. But you tell me where the laugh points are in this movie, Jason. Where am I supposed to be laughing in this movie?
I have absolutely no idea, and I was searching. I was wondering, where's the funny? Where is it? But it just, I don't know. I think that there are people out in the world who confuse offensiveness and just being disgusting with being funny. And you see that sometimes with spoof movies. The
Mm.
one that I can remember is the least and latest Vacation movie,
Oh,
the reboot
yes.
of National Lampoon's Vacation, where
Yeah.
they go and they find a spring and it turns out not to be a spring, it's like a cesspool, and they're just rubbing it on their face. Oh, this feels so good. And
Yeah.
the whole scene is just not funny. It's
No.
gross.
Mm.
Gross does not equal funny. Offensive does not equal funny. Gross and
No,
offensive do
this,
not equal
yeah.
funny. Um,
Uh,
I honestly think that the moment that they went underground, this movie's already low quality took another nosedive and it just became boring. And
well,
at
it feels
that
like
point, yeah, at
yeah.
that point, you can make me angry. You can you can make me upset. Don't bore me. And that's a cardinal sin. Do not bore me. This movie bored me as soon as I got underground. I was checking my watch every 5 minutes thinking, "How can this thing still be going? It's only 90
Mm.
minutes long."
And it felt like 3 hours. The film
Dude,
really drags from scene and scene.
felt like a
Um,
Tolkien director's cut
ugh.
with,
You know,
sexual assault and talking dogs and stupidity and Don
oh,
Johnson
and
being a
don't forget
brat.
humanoid androids,
Yes.
powerful Superman, what, genetically engineered super beings.
Where did they
What is
come from?
going
No
on
one
there?
knows. Who knows? What are they doing here? Who
All
knows?
dressed up, mind you, as a from what was that comedy show that you guys used to have, the redneck comedy show?
Hee haw.
Hee Haw? Hee Haw.
Hee
It's looking like it's straight out of
haw.
Hee Haw. That's what it's looking like.
Yeah,
And
this
it's
this
just,
this it's just so bad.
there's no, we don't even get to see any benefits of that society they built. There's no real benefits except for the food, maybe, but everything
Maybe, but
else, maybe.
everything else about this society sucks.
Yeah.
Everything, and everyone seems so happy down there. They're just like, "Yes, this is totally normal, bringing in an underage boy from the surface and having a strange man bathe him against his will. This is
Yeah.
fine."
Okay, I can see one point where some people might have thought the whole concept of him being used as a vessel to, you know, breed 35 brides at once. I could see maybe they were thinking that was going to be funny, but it was never played like that at all. And I
No.
felt so, like, for a character who I despise, even I'm going, you poor bugger, that's got to be hell. Um, and it's again just not funny, not interesting. It's, if played as a pure horror film, maybe there's something here. If you lose the dog and you have him getting caught into, maybe it might have been something interesting for back then. But holy moly,
Yeah.
do you care at all at the resolution of this? At all?
By that point, I don't think that there was anything the movie could have done that would have redeemed it in any way. It's a
Mm.
dark ending, but to me, it just continues this
Oh
message
well,
of misogyny. It just
we can
absolute.
spoil it, I suppose. I mean, because
Yeah,
this
let's
is
talk about
always
it. So,
spoiler review.
yeah, the woman, I cannot remember her name. I just remember she's got a stupid name. Comes up
Yeah,
with Don Johnson, and they find Blood the dog dying because his dog's
yeah.
been waiting for them to come out this whole time.
Mm.
And she says, leave him. He's gonna die. He's gonna die. He's gonna die." And then it cuts to this campfire. They're cooking something. The dog's like, "Oh, thank you very much. That was
Mm.
really good. Nom, 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 nom."
Mm.
And it's Well, it's more than strongly hinted that Don Johnson kills the woman, cooks her, and feeds her to the dog.
Yeah.
Huh?
Okay. Huh? Yeah.
Ha ha.
Yeah, like seems really kind of barbaric.
That's
And again, isn't the
funny.
rule of these films is you've got to have someone the audience can relate to carry you, to guide you through your film. Right? It's
Yeah.
script writing 101, storytelling 101, correct,
Yeah.
Jace?
Yeah.
We do not have it. And I bet you they thought they were being clever, but they were being dumb because
Yeah.
by then, I mean, half an hour into this film, I'm emotionally checked out already, and I'm just
Yeah.
getting angrier and angrier.
There is no one in this movie worth rooting for. There's no one in this movie worth getting invested in. This is like having
It's a confusing mess.
it's like having a movie with the worst characters of Revenge of the Nerds in it.
Yeah,
Just absolutely amoral, sexually disgusting brats
yeah,
getting into situations that are stupid and nonsensical
mm,
while the movie's trying to fool you into thinking that it is smarter and more clever than it actually is. It's not. This is just a bad movie, badly put together, badly written. I understand that it's become kind of a cult movie. I'm thinking like a cult, like the cult that lives underground, where you're wondering where the positivity is. Why do people like this? And they can't give you an answer other than,
mm.
I like it when bad things happen to women. It's funny. That's really
Okay,
all I
if
can think.
you here's another example that really bothered me out of the film. If you keep referring to something and then not pay it off, to me that's a big sin. Example: why he keeps calling Vic Albert? Never explained why he would call him and then keep calling him Albert. And you're thinking, okay, there's a backstory for this dog, right? There's a backstory. We're going to hear about this person, Albert, and it was probably nothing, never explained. And I'm going, that's not clever. That's lazy writing, and that's not very good writing. I mean,
It's
it is
not.
like someone did a first draft and just throw it on the screen.
Yeah, it was just bad. And I actually went to the short story to see, well, maybe the short story is different.
Mm.
Not really. Not
No,
really. It's really
well,
not.
that's Haron Ellison for you. I mean, like, well, I may get some blowback from this, but I'm not a massive fan of his stuff.
Well,
I've
Harlan
never,
Ellison was a mean person. He was a
yeah,
mean
like
and
so, and yeah, just I'm
cynical
not a fan.
and just negative person. So
Yeah,
this screams Harlan Ellison to me. This
yeah.
is something I totally agree. I totally believe Harlan Ellison came up one night. Somebody made him mad, and he's just like, I'm so angry, and started
Mm.
writing. Apparently, he hated the movie though.
Oh well,
Yeah, he said he hated the movie.
yeah.
So I don't
At
know.
some point in the creation of this thing, whether it's in book form or film form, there was a lot of cocaine in use somewhere,
Oh, I'm sure. I don't think
and
that was sand in the desert. I think that was all just the cocaine from the green room.
just doing rails.
Yeah,
No,
the dog was on
it's
cocaine. Don Johnson was on cocaine. I
yeah.
have this fanfic in my head where Don Johnson from Miami Vice busts the kid from a boy and his dog.
Yeah.
I just think
Hey,
of
can
that,
I
and then
give you a
they
bit
get
of
into a fight
advice?
with guns. The dog's shooting guns back. What's that?
Do you know how to waste $400,000? Make this movie because that's how much it
Yes,
cost. This
yes.
and it looks like because even the underworld, like the underground society, that looks like it's filmed in an amateur theater hall. Like everything is. This must have been the cheap. Like 400 grand is not a lot of money, even in 1975. It is not a lot of money, and you can tell. You can tell, and
Oh yes.
which is again of like the sin of an independent movie. If you've got it, you're going to make an independent film. You better have a good plot. You better have decent characters to keep the. Because if you don't have the production value, you've got to lock them in the story, and it just doesn't have either, does it?
Do you want to hear a dark fact about this movie?
Mm,
Of course you
please.
do. They were getting ready to film a sequel called A Girl and Her Dog, and it was basically going to be blood has moved on to someone else, and they were having adventures together in this wasteland. They were getting ready to film this movie, and then the dog died.
Oh, that is dark and horrible.
Which, if you ask me, was a good career move for the dog.
Okay, you've kind of
kept him
triggered
from
me
having
onto
to be
something
in.
here.
It had death is preferable than being in another movie in the Boy and His Dog universe.
Well, you've just reminded me of something that really upset me in this film. Was the dog fight?
Yes,
because I was furious at that. Those dogs didn't have a choice. If they were fighting on screen, they were attacking each other on screen, and someone allowed to film that and present that as entertainment is absolutely disgusting, Jason.
I'm really hoping that it was just.
What were they doing? If
I don't know.
Rewatched that bit again because I'm going like, oh, maybe they were just playing as their some sort of trickery. I couldn't see it. So again, I'm like, what is going on with this movie? You know how they say something is everything is old is new again? Never. This should never, ever be remade. Or really, I mean, I feel bad about even doing this review that someone else may go watch it based on the fact they'll see our thumbnail. But everybody's entitled to make their own opinion. So who am I to be the arbiter of what is tasteful? But I'll tell you my opinion, and this film really sucks. It is the worst film we've ever watched on the show, Jason.
I agree.
By a mile.
The only reason why we did it was because it takes place in 2024, and we thought, oh, what a great way to celebrate this year than going over a cult movie that takes place during 2024, made in 1975, just to see how off they were. Well, obviously they were totally off. Sexual assault is still bad. Please don't do that. Yeah, it's just
we don't generally feed humans to dogs. Normally doesn't happen.
No. I will say though, I will say that if I had to choose between a complete stranger and my little boy Fizzgig, sorry, he's gonna eat you.
But I will say maybe there's some themes and ideas in the underground world which could apply to today. Could. You know, if we get a certain section of the world get their way, we may end up with something, you know, like that. So there are some things that are still kind of relevant today in a very, not in a real way, but more that section of the community that's panicking about everything, if you know what I mean. You know, They wear a lot of red, you know. They love hats, those kind of people. So, yeah, it's like that's... Yeah, that's the only relevance this film has. Anyway, yeah. So either way,
are we done? Are we done?
Well, yeah, we got to like the fact that we even got half an hour into this to be able to talk about this film is unbelievable. All right. However, Jason, we will give our recommendations for this film. I would never watch this, people. Don't watch this. If you are feeling good, happy, sad, whatever your mood is, this will just destroy your day. So watch it if you like, but I'll never watch it again.
I would rather get paper cuts in my delicate nether regions and then clean every urinal in Dallas Cowboy Stadium with nothing but my tongue and mouthwash than watch this vile trash of a movie. And if you are in the cult that enjoys this movie, seriously reconsider your life choices.
Yeah. What I would love to hear in the comments, if you do love this movie, give us the reasons. Explain to us what you find valuable in this movie, because I'd love to hear it, because I am lost. So, well, there we go. Hey, Jace, can we talk about what's coming up, though?
Whatever it is, it's got to be better.
Is it, though?
It's got to be.
Is it? Well, I don't know. It's a long time since I've seen this movie. I saw it once when it was released. And this is the first film. No, it's not. It's the second film in the 2000s we're doing. I'm talking about this film here, which will be next on our roster.
It's got to be better. It's got to be
better. I don't know. You know what I'm thinking right now? Because I haven't seen it since 2009. Was I being a real snob back then? Or is this film a decent film? I've just finished watching all the Friday films. Maybe this deserves a second look.
I saw this in theaters, and I remember not liking it because I like zombie Uber Jason. I liked
Yeah.
the supernatural Jason, and they took all that away. And I just remember thinking, oh, this is like a Friday the 13th movie minus all the fun.
Yeah.
I'm willing to give it another chance. Be
We
a
know
little
it's
bit
a
less
smush
naughty.
movie, isn't it? It's a smush movie where they've smushed 3 films together, basically, haven't
Yes. Yes.
they? Which,
They didn't have to, but I
they
will
didn't
give it a
have to.
chance and see.
Yeah. Well, anything's going to be better after watching what
It's
we
got
just
to be better
watched.
than A Boy and His Dog. I think
Yeah.
that's we're not even going to call it like F tier anymore. It's A Boy and His Dog tier.
Yeah.
It's lower than F. Like this is just
You know what the hardest thing
awful.
about this whole experience is going to be, Jason? Is coming up with a good title for this, because I didn't know why anyone had the impression on our YouTube that we somehow like this film. Like,
About
we did.
son of a yeah. No, we did not like this. How about A
No.
Boy and His Dog, the worst movie we've ever seen? A Boy and His
Uh,
Dog. Torture
Jason,
is more desirable.
we got to talk some business before we go. We need you guys to please like and subscribe, hit that notification bell. You know what? We're foolish enough to watch more bad movies if you guys recommend them. So you need to be doing that by putting comments below, and also becoming part of something, our very special group inside the Jason Roy Gaston Patreon page.
Yes.
What are they got to do there, Jace?
All you have to do is follow the link in the description below, and it will take you to our Patreon page. You may become a Patreon for as little as $5 a month. That is less than the cost of an artery-clogging fast food meal. As a Patreon, you will get all kinds of treats, exclusive videos that no one else has seen. Wink, wink. And it's not that. Don't get your hopes. Or, I don't know. If you become a big enough Patreon, maybe you can make an exception. But you also get preferential recommendations. We've had a couple of those in the last few weeks for this show, of course, and for Jason Watches, which is another show we do here, or I do
Yes,
here.
absolutely. But so you get to control us like puppets in a way.
We will be your puppets. You will be like Freddy. Saying, this will be one of the best deaths in the movie. They'll never top this. And they were right. They never did.
And they replayed it again and again throughout the other movies. Which they did. So anyway, until then,
I'm depressed and I hate everything right now.
You know what? I always hope to get to use this current bit on every kind of movie we do, but this definitely not one of these.
No, we need to Photoshop a thumbs down.
Yeah, oh, we need something else. Like, I'm thinking of using the scanners bit when his head blows up, because that's how I felt after this.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the Clockwork Orange, where he's got the eyes pried open and he's just
screaming. The bit where he gets to screaming. Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys.
One last thing. You remember how I said it seemed like somebody watched a Clockwork Orange, missed the point, but they wanted to do a movie just like it?
Yeah.
The trailer for this movie was done in the exact style as the trailer for A Clockwork Orange. I knew it. I knew it.
Well, did you see the artwork at the beginning? What font are they using here, Jace?
It looks like
that is stylistically exactly the same as a Clockwork Orange movie banner.
Like A Boy in His Dog.
Yeah. So they're using the Clockwork Orange font, and they're using that kind of washed out effect. So
Clockwork Dog.
Well, thank you, LQ/JFA Productions, for making a film that I hate so much. It's in my top 5 of most hated films of all time.
I would job for definitely that. Say definitely in my bottom 5 as well. Just horrendous. 5-car pile-up accident of a movie where a bus full of nuns smashes into a bus full of orphans, and it all catches fire, and no one has a chance to escape. And it happens
live.
We're not
snobs either. If you're watching the show, you know we're not film snobs. No. Some of our favourite films have been Ator, Q the Winged Serpent, Robot Jobs. We love stuff like that. So,
this movie is just 500% butt. It's just awful. No redeeming features. None. I think that maybe in more capable hands, the plot might have been able to be turned into a fun, stupid comedy. But as it is right now, absolutely nothing in this movie is worthy of praise. It's all just deserves to be scorned at. This needs to be
Yeah.
held up as an example of how not to do a movie. It is just the worst, and everyone involved should be ashamed of themselves. I want to find Don Johnson. I want to fight him now. He's like what, 80
Well, we'll
now?
leave it, guys.
I can take him.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Ugh, can't believe we got half an hour out of that.
Criminy.
I mean,
The Dog could have squeezed a better movie out of its colon, and I'm sure it did a few times.
it's just like, oh man, the thing is, it's like you think the whole time, oh, the technology, there's some sort of technology there because the dog is telepathic. Nope, just a miracle. Just a miracle.
Haron Ellison was on cocaine when he wrote the short story. That's all.
Ugh, I wish
that's
I was
the
on
miracle.
cocaine
That's the
watching
technology.
I think that's how you're supposed to watch it. Maybe that's the answer. Everyone who likes this film is actually coked up out of their brain.